Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are officially heads of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, which is an incredible moment for America because we now have two of the smartest minds looking at literally reforming the way our federal government spends money. But they have a huge task ahead of them. So I want to look in the past and see what we can learn from maybe similar initiatives and how we can do things better today, not only with technology, but with some of the political knowledge and foresight that we can then put to work to ensure that this is a sustained, politically and financially successful project. So let's back up. Does Donald Trump have the authority to even create such an agency? Well, it's not technically an agency. What it'll be is some kind of public-private partnership, maybe even a 501c3, much like the Grace Commission, which was formed under Ronald Reagan. The Grace Commission was established via executive order by Ronald Reagan in 1982 with some of the same exact goals of the current DOGE. The goals being to get rid of government waste and streamline government efficiency, especially when it came to spending. Reagan wanted to bring the private sector approach to government to make things more efficient, but he ran into a lot of problems. Some of those problems were the fact that in Congress, one of the things congressmen do to win elections, win votes, is to get government to spend in their districts. One of the easiest examples to understand are military bases. Any congressman wants to make sure that their military base stays open because military bases bring a lot of workers and a lot of votes. If a congressman or woman does not bring money and their military base gets shut down, they more often than not are unelected or primaried because now all those people at the military base don't have jobs, but they still live in the district, so they're gonna vote you out. This is part of the reason why entrenched interests in America's financial irresponsibility is so hard to weed out. But this is where Elon Musk and Vivek can be incredibly smart. First, DOGE has to be different than the Grace Commission because it has to have a very smart marketing arm, much like X. The American people need to know how ineffective and inefficient government spending really is, and it needs to be broadcast for everyone to see all the time so that Americans don't get worried about their jobs getting cut. It also needs to be strategic. If you really want to be a political savage, the first money that needs to be gutted needs to come from blue districts, especially say out in California or New York City, Connecticut, Massachusetts, because those are people who are not going to vote for Donald Trump anyway. And one of Elon Musk's biggest concerns is maintaining control of the House and the Senate. If Republicans do not maintain control of the House and the Senate, Trump's agenda cannot be enacted. So this has to be better than the Grace Commission because Ronald Reagan had to deal with a Democratic House. Trump does not have that luxury. Trump absolutely must hold on to Congress for all 4 years of his term in order to execute the sweeping reforms that need to be done. So it is in Elon and Vivek's specific interest for their own success to ensure that they dole out government efficiency in a politically accurate manner. The first things that need to be targeted are things that are such obvious waste, like say for example, shrimp treadmills or feeding cows random drugs to see how they act, that it doesn't hurt anyone's voter base. They also can't really touch programs like Social Security because that is something Trump said as a campaign promise he wouldn't touch and has a huge voter base. But what DOGE can do is go over superfluous programs and market how stupid and silly government is when it comes to spending. It can also promote innovative ideas, say for example, privatizing Social Security, which was an old idea that could come back to the forefront, or simply better ways about doling out government contracts. But one avenue that Elon and Vivek could really specialize in is using AI. They could simply recommend shrinking entire government agencies, and as Trump tries to shut down government agencies like the Department of Education, DOGE could work hand in hand in making sure that it is shut down correctly. The power of a quasi-government organization is very useful because it means they are not bound by government regulation, but can infiltrate and work with the government agency hand in hand. So DOGE can almost act like a sidekick for every single government agency that wants to be shut down. Whoever is appointed to the head of the Department of Education can maybe give DOGE a contract to do internal investigations on efficiency and work with DOGE hand in hand for a 2 to 3 month period in order to wind things down. This would also help because the people at the Department of Education, for example, don't want to shut down their own jobs. So it's almost like DOGE can act like a McKinsey & Company and come in as an outside consultant to completely clean house and create efficiencies. Now, if they do this with every government organization, that's a fantastic idea and would be a lot more aggressive than the Grace Commission. DOGE must take marketing very seriously because it needs American voters, congressmen and women, to truly understand why certain things are wasteful and what the return on investment is for the American people. Once again, it is going to be very hard from a marketing perspective because once you start doling out money and it creates jobs, even though it's unsustainable, with elections every 2 years, it is very hard politically to cut some of these programs. So DOGE must have a very strategic media arm and have a whole team of lawyers to ensure that, one, they are promoting the message that government efficiency is good for everybody. They cannot let entrenched Democratic interests make DOGE look bad for doing good things. Because in my previous video, politics trumps policy. In order for the policy initiatives of DOGE to go forward, they have to maintain good politics. That means a strategic marketing arm. DOGE must then work with as many lawyers as possible to ensure that they have the legal cover and ability to go into as many agencies as they are allowed to truly make things efficient. DOGE should even reach out to some of those entrenched interests, specifically maybe labor unions, social welfare program workers, or even the military-industrial complex, to do what they can to mitigate backlash. Now, regardless, there will be backlash, but you don't want the opposing side to say that they were never approached. DOGE should also use its attraction of talent to help place people within government as it winds down programs. Once again, much like McKinsey, DOGE can be the fall guy for making some of the hardest decisions that normal American politicians and politicos don't want to make. What makes the political system so complicated is really our 2-year election cycle and the fickleness of American voters. Elon Musk has already stated that he's working to maintain the Republican-led House and Senate and is going to be working through in the midterms. The last thing we need is for Elon to start cutting programs in swing districts that then flip them blue and lose control of the House. If Republicans lose control of the House or the Senate, then Elon's job becomes impossible. So it is in Elon's best interest to be as politically efficient and economically efficient as possible. And with the right marketing, the right strategy, the right legal team, and the right approach, I think it's possible.